So yesterday, my wife and I were at a friend's house. We were waiting for the NFC Championship game to start, and he asked me what the deal with intermittent fasting was, and would it be a good idea for him now that he's joined me in his 60s. And ironically enough, that was the topic of this video that I had just wrapped up before we headed over there. So I was prepared, and I got to sound really smart. So intermittent fasting isn't a diet. It doesn't tell you what to eat. It just tells you when to eat. That's it. You eat during a certain window of the day, and you don't eat outside of that window. This isn't a new concept. Humans have been doing it for a millennium since we created the wheel. So there's really no need to reinvent the wheel. It's really just rebranding for a new generation. So when I'm doing intermittent fasting, I eat between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. That strategy is called the 16-8. There are many different ratios and times and versions. Each of them have their own advantages and their own disadvantages. This is just the one I've landed on as the best for me and my lifestyle. So what that means is 16 hours of fasting, then an 8-hour eating window. I have my last protein-rich meal at 6 p.m., and I typically go to sleep around 9 p.m. I know that's early. I'm old. I wake up at 5 a.m., so that's automatically 11 hours of fasting before I even start my day. So at 10 a.m., I will have done 3 hours of coaching at the gym, and then I've scheduled a half-hour break for myself. I bring pre-made meals in my backpack in small glass containers. I'll have 4 eggs, maybe hard-boiled, or a scramble with some spinach or tomatoes, or maybe I'll have cottage cheese and blueberries, some black coffee, but either way, it's roughly 25 grams of protein. Then, at around noon, I will have a protein shake with 2 scoops of whey. Honestly, I'm not hungry at that point, but I know I have protein goals that I need to meet, and this is going to give me 50 grams. So around 2, I'll have a lunch, 4-ounce grilled chicken, no sauces or breading. Usually I do them from the air fryer with some spices. At that point, I also grab my flask that I've filled up with 2 scoops of clear protein, some creatine, water, and ice in it. And I'll make sure that before I go to bed that night, I've had it all. So I kind of just sip it throughout the day. I may also take out a protein bar and cut it up into little bite-sized pieces and munch on that throughout the day as I'm training clients. That's another 28 grams. Then around 6, we'll either sit down and have steak or fish dinner and vegetables. That's another 30 grams. That brings me to somewhere around 200 total grams of protein for the day, a little over my goal, which is my body weight. I don't trust the water in the water fountain, so in order to get proper hydration, I have 2 aluminum flasks, because I also don't trust plastic either. One has my clear protein and creatine. The other has 32 ounces of water and electrolytes. Electrolytes are another video that I think should be on its way. But either way, I eat and I drink intentionally during the week. But I also go out to dinner with my wife and our friends. Once a week, I have dessert, wine, food, appetizers, because I have learned from experience that for my personality, letting off steam once a week is way better than being so disciplined for so long that I snap and lose progress. So no matter what fasting you might decide to try, what you need to remember is that your protein requirement does not magically just go down. The challenge is that the tighter you make your eating window, the harder it becomes to get enough protein. So this isn't about starvation. We've all been standing around saying we're starving, but starving is when you've actually exhausted or you've run out of all the energy storage and you begin breaking down vital organs and muscles in order to get your energy. Hopefully none of us ever get into that situation. So no, it's not starvation, and it's not skipping meals because you're trying to punish yourself for what you ate last night. And it's definitely not shoveling garbage food into a smaller feeding window and calling it healthy. No, fast food is not fasting. If fasting turns into less protein, more stress, and crappy sleep, it's not helping you, it's hurting you. And yes, age is going to come into play. It seems like it always does. After 50, your body just doesn't tolerate stress the same way. Your insulin sensitivity isn't what it used to be. You lose muscle easier, your sleep is lighter, your recovery takes longer, and the fact is that fasting in and of itself is a stressor. That doesn't mean it's bad, it just means your body has to be able to handle it. I've seen fasting work incredibly well for some people, especially people who snack all day and have trouble controlling appetite or their blood sugar is on a roller coaster. For them, fasting creates structure. It calms things down. But I've also seen it absolutely wreck people. They get frustrated with their weight, aggravated with themselves, so they eat even less. Then they overtrain, trying to beat their body into submission. But then they are sleeping like crap and they're running on stress. For those people, fasting just pours gasoline on the fire. It's the same tool, but it's a very different result. And here's where I think most people get it wrong. They think the goal is to see how long they can go without eating, so they start skipping meals, pushing the fasting window longer and longer, and wearing it like a badge of honor. But after 50, that mindset is going to backfire because fasting isn't supposed to be about proving how tough you are. It's supposed to make your body's job easier, not harder. If fasting means that you're eating less protein, trying harder to compensate, sleeping worse, and feeling run down, that's not discipline. That's just stress piling up. And your body doesn't reward stress, not after 50. It pushes back. So the mistake isn't fasting itself. The mistake is using fasting as if it were a test of your willpower, instead of using it as a tool that supports recovery and metabolism. So if fasting isn't helping you feel stronger, clearer, and more stable, it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. So would I tell every 50-year-old to do intermittent fasting? No. Would I tell every 50-year-old to avoid it? Also no. It can be incredibly useful or completely unnecessary, depending on the person. And over the years, I've learned when to use it and when to back off. So I try to keep these videos short and to the point, but there could be a lot more to cover on fasting, not because it's complicated, but because it gets oversimplified.
Before I wrap this up, I wanted to mention something real quick. I've been getting a lot of questions about intermittent fasting, what to do, what not to do, how to protect muscle, how to manage stress. And honestly, it's too much to fully cover in one video. So I put everything into a practical guide called Intermittent Fasting After 50. It walks through who fasting actually makes sense for, who should avoid it, how to structure it around protein and recovery, and how to build something that fits your life. If you want the full framework instead of guessing, it's linked below.
There are different fasting styles. The concept of ketosis and autophagy, they're fascinating for a muscle nerd. Basically, what actually happens to your body when you reach those stages. If people are interested in a deeper dive, let me know in the comments and I'll absolutely go into more detail. And if you've tried intermittent fasting before, I'd love to hear what your experiences were, and I'll see you guys in the next one.